folks. There's this guy named Zohran Mamdani, right? He's running to be the next mayor of New York City. He's a socialist. He's endorsed by DSA. He's, we've talked about him a bit recently, and that's because the mayoral election is coming up, or at least the mayoral primary is coming up, which is in New York City the only thing that matters, the Democratic primary. I gotta tell you guys, about 2 months ago, he was down by about 40 points. A couple days ago, polling came out that he was only down by like 15 points. And, well, let's take a look at the Daily News here, which put out an article about Zohran Mamdani. Zohran Mamdani's surprising surge fueled by pocketbook promises, social media savvy. Recent canvassing event for mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani in Sunnyside, Queens. A campaign staffer kicked things off by asking how many of the 36 volunteers on hand were about to knock doors for him for the first time. Nearly half the canvassers raised their hands in response. To the surprise of many in New York's political establishment, Mamdani, 33, has leapfrogged other more established candidates to become the leading progressive running in the June 24th primary. Polls have shown him consistently ranking as the second-place candidate behind frontrunner Andrew Cuomo, and some recent surveys even indicate the ex-governor's lead over Mamdani is shrinking. And that is, by the way, being almost entirely fueled by people going out and knocking on doors and talking with folks. Okay, it's the phone banking, the door knocking. It's making a difference. Okay, and the thing is, guys, genuinely, it's one of the like, it sells itself. You know, like when you. For example, when I used to work at Extra Life, right? One of the things that I would say consistently is that, hey, like getting people to volunteer to play video games for charity is like it's a concept that basically sells itself. You know, like that's a lot of people are going to be into that idea. And so in a similar way, even if Zohran Mamdani was like, just like, a completely neutral, like middle-of-the-road Democrat, he would be preferable to Andrew Cuomo. People despise Andrew Cuomo. The main thing Andrew Cuomo has going for him is that he, you know, has name recognition. That's it. Most people, given a known devil versus a devil that they don't, would go with the devil they know, right? But the thing is, Zohran Mamdani is not just a middle-of-the-road politician. He's the guy who's running on like the idea of freezing rent in New York City, something that is off the scales popular among the city residents because most people there rent. You know, there's all kinds of other things that he's running on. Municipal grocery stores to basically do away with food deserts. You know, making the city safe by actually, you know, investing in social services. There's a lot of different things that he's working on and policies that he has going. He's worked as an assemblyman in New York City for a while. And so like he's a known quantity. He has experience with these systems in New York City, right? And I love the idea of municipal grocery stores so much, Jobertus Maximus, that I want to do a dedicated segment on that concept at a later date. I have a bunch of research set aside to like talk about them. But that being said, folks, what's crazy is the amount of people that Mamdani has had out volunteering for him. Okay, so to reiterate here, in New York City's under New York City's laws, right? You are forbidden from taking more than $8 million for a political campaign, right? So Zohran Mamdani has actually maxed out on contributions he can take for this particular campaign. And incidentally, Andrew Cuomo has been caught illegally working with a big money campaign group. So we'll see what happens with that. But like, Zohran Mamdani has maxed out fundraising. All he needs now are bodies and voices to phone bank for him and knock on doors and like tell people what his policies are. Because his policies are incredibly popular. They are pro-working class policies, which of course translates into the amount of volunteer support he gets, right? A key factor behind Mamdani's surge is the groundswell of support he has generated from young left-leaning voters. As of mid-May, his operation has mushroomed to include over 20,000, mostly young volunteers, a bigger field than any of the other 2025 mayoral campaigns bolster. Waves of newcomers showing up to canvass events has become a new trend, especially in recent weeks, according to his team. That's pretty cool. Also, Zohran Mamdani wants to make city buses and the transit free to everyone, and I think that's incredible. That's wonderful. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. Let's take a look here. I wanted to talk a little bit about how some people are seeing him. This Daily News article was written with an embedded reporter who traveled around with Zohran Mamdani's campaign and recorded some of his interactions with folks. Here's one section here that I wanted to focus on. It's called Affordability and New Yorkers. Okay? The popularity of Mamdani's populist proposals isn't just rooted in a savvy social media presence. It comes as studies show affordability remains a top issue on New Yorkers' minds, with rents at all-time highs, prices for basic goods like groceries elevated due to President Trump's tariff-heavy trade war, and social safety net programs benefiting the city's most vulnerable at risk due to Trump's federal funding cuts. Quote, "I never used to be as far left as a Bernie Sanders, but those are the only people who are looking out for us," said Hanita Hennessy, a 61-year-old childcare worker who told the news she will rank Mamdani at the top of her mayoral primary ballot after speaking to him during a recent campaign stop. I mean, guys, this is the real deal. I think Mamdani's got the juice. He's winning over the 60-year-old demographic. Do you guys have any idea how hard you have to work to get them to flip on their ideological biases? A 60-year-old being I never got along with those Bernie Sanders, but I'll vote for this Democratic Socialist. That's crazy. That's wonderful. Okay? And so I'm just so excited to see this happening, and I've got an even better bit of news to kind of cap this all off.
Everybody.
Because this article was published today. However, it was published at 11 a.m. today. However, it did not have the latest polling data internal to Zohran Mamdani's team.
How's it going, everybody?
I'm just going to play this all for you real quick, and I think you guys are going to be pretty excited.
I just got home, and today was a 5-borough day. So we started in Queens, went to Brooklyn, then Staten Island, then the Bronx, then Manhattan, and now I'm back home. And we've just crossed into Saturday, which means we are officially 24 days away until June 24th. And these are 24 days where we just have to catch up 8 points to beat Andrew Cuomo in that final round.
Yeah, you heard that right, folks. Zohran Mamdani has shrunk a 40-point lead down to an 8-point lead. Okay? In the span of 2 months. In the span of 2 months, there's 24 days. And I do mean this, guys. If you are in New York City, if you are around that area, you're able to participate in door knocking. For the love of God, get in there. Now is the time. Now is the time. AOC and Bernie endorsement when? Well, I know Jamal Bowman endorsed. People are asking when she will endorse Zohran Mamdani. I don't know that she has yet. I'm hoping that she will. She might be waiting until much closer to the election, though. Okay, so my guess, if I had to take a stab, it's 24 days out, right? I'm imagining the endorsements are going to be much closer to the election, day before, maybe 2-3 days before, in order to maximize the actual impact, because people do forget stuff, and I would guess maybe 2 days before the election, there's going to be an endorsement and hey, get out to vote. So I'm excited, and I know she hasn't yet, but we have 24 days left. I would guess we aren't going to see one for like 21, 22 days. Those are Bernie numbers with HRC in 2016. Bernie closed a 40-point lead. Yep. It's, again, people want these policies. They want someone who's going to fight for them, you know? And I know that like a lot of people are these days are talking about like, oh man, we have to project power or whatever. The reality is you don't have to project power. You just have to be believed when you say you're going to make things better. You know, standing your ground, refusing to bend, refusing to, kowtow. Like that is strength in politics. Being able to hold your position is strength in politics, right? That's why a lot of people are talking about taco, right? Trump always chickens out. And why that's kind of getting under Donald Trump's skin. An article came out today that apparently he's very angry at his team for not telling him that taco was a thing. The reason that's a problem is because it indicates his lack of strength, right? And so, like, taco is weakness. It is, and he understands that power dynamic. That's why it bothers him so much. So I just want to like point out, I think that like Zohran Mamdani's strength here is sticking to these positions and actually fighting for them, actually making the argument.
So if you haven't, now is the perfect time to join this campaign, to knock on some doors, to make some phone calls, to get us over the line, and to show New Yorkers that they don't have to just choose between the past and the present. They can actually choose a future where they can afford the city that they build every single day.
God, he's so charming and handsome. Folks, if you want to volunteer, you can head over to zohranfornyc.com. And you know what? Please do. I'm just really excited for a guy who could genuinely improve one of the biggest cities in America and who could be, a leader for decades to come. Like you guys understand, if he becomes mayor of New York City, like he has the potential to go on to the House, to the Senate, to the governorship, to the White House. And that's very, very exciting if he is the kind of man he says he is. If he's the kind of man he says he is, that would be incredible. Given the dearth of options, I'd take that bet. Let's do what we can for Zohran Mamdani, folks. If you guys are in New York, you have a patriotic duty in order to support this man. That is your new mission. So get out there, volunteer, and honestly, someone bug his campaign to open up phone banking. I've been having trouble finding phone banks, but if you can phone bank, do that too. Okay, maybe we'll organize like a community phone bank. I know GamerG has some experience doing that. Maybe we could do that for Zohran. We'll look into that. Okay. With that, rank Mamdani first. Don't rank Cuomo. Let's get it done.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather around. Twitch and YouTube and swishy streams. All that content is bursting the scenes. Politics, dating, plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord.